Welcome, NutritionRadio.org listeners. This is Lonnie Lowery, a university nutrition professor of over 20 years and podcast host of long-running shows like Iron Radio. Come on in. Market news from the food world. Hello, everybody. Well, I just got my new food technology magazine from the IFT, and there's a cool article in here entitled The Top 10 Food Trends of 2023. Now, we've touched on a little bit of this before. This one is by Elizabeth Sloan, but I want to emphasize some trends that I'm seeing in this piece. I'm not going to cover the whole top 10, but there's three things I want to touch on, and you can see if it affects you. Remote work, health and functional foods, and technology. These are three drivers as we move into the next year of these food trends. This piece starts off by saying, expect 2023 to be a year of new opportunities for the food industry as inflation-driven behaviors, we've emphasized that before, are offset by heightened interest in food as medicine, sustainability, and new food technologies, as well as a demand for more exciting everyday fare. So let me pick and choose for you here if I might. Despite the ongoing impact of inflation on purchasing patterns, pockets of quote-unquote premiumization do exist, however. Consumers are most willing to pay premium for sports drinks, canned/bottled fruit drinks, and non-chocolate candy. I would also like to add, because of my interest and involvement in the coffee world, premium coffees are as well. You can see that it's almost inflation-proof because, damn it, people are going to have their little pleasure, their $3 cup of coffee in a world where they're tightening their belt with almost everything else. I'm not saying people wouldn't want to make coffee at home, but it is sort of a luxury item that people are almost last to remove from their list. Anyway, a little bit more here, just analysis. 8 in 10 meals are sourced from home per IRI, this article reports, and that trend is expected to continue with about a quarter of consumers planning to cook more at home this coming year. This is not surprising. People are tightening their belts. They don't want to spend $60 on a little sit-down meal in a restaurant quite to the same extent as they did before inflation. That is, before it was so bad. But of course, there's also this work-from-home, remote worker thing as well. When you're working from home, you don't really have to pack a lunch or go out to eat and blow 10 or 20 bucks or whatever it might be, depending where you live in the country, during your lunch hour or half hour. You're eating from home because you're working from home, and lots of people are doing that now. This intro synopsis also points out that about half of U.S. consumers, nearly half, are taking a proactive approach to their health and wellness, typically with being pickier about the nutrients, choosing functional foods, but also doing it in a way that considers quick prep, convenience foods, that kind of thing. Really giving convenience foods a little bit more of a new definition compared to what we've said in the past, like junk foods, really. So here are a couple specific portions of this top 10 list with a little bit of commentary and analysis from these themes that I'm seeing. This first one here, called Resizing the Restaurant/Retail Gap, has some interesting nuggets. It says 2/3 of shoppers want more prepared options that are healthful, as well as more heat-and-eat vegetables, side dishes, and globally inspired choices, according to a report from FMI, the Food Industry Association. Because people are remote workers, they're working from home, they don't want to spend as much money because of inflation. A lot of this delivery stuff that we've been seeing over the past couple of years is really kicking up as well. It says with delivery companies beginning to partner with grocery chains, such as DoorDash with Aldi, interesting, offering popular delivery foods at retail to heat and eat or to keep on hand at home is a very big idea. There's also commentary in here that more restaurants are cutting back on late night hours. I'm presuming that's partly because they don't have the staff, because people aren't returning to work like they have in the past. But in any case, that is going to drive late-night delivery snacks. And they give examples like quesadillas and mozzarella sticks and things like that. Now, it's not always going to be deep-fried or kind of processed convenience, almost junk foods in that sense. Maybe it's even healthier options. Anyway, number 2 on this is also interesting, morphing meal patterns. They give some statistics on how many days a week people eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with the lowest being breakfast at less than 5 days per week. But anyway, here's one of those themes. In February of this year, 1/3 of employees worked from home, either full-time or part-time. 1 in 3, according to Data Essential. With so many workers doing their thing remotely, as well as cutting back on dining out because of inflation in the budgets and whatnot, most meals are sourced from home. In fact, over 77% of breakfasts, lunches, dinners, and snacks sourced from home. And that's for January 2023. Number 3 is about sustainability. I will touch on one part of this. It talks about food companies that partner and pay a fair wage. This is something that we've seen in the coffee world for a long time, and rightfully so. You shouldn't have farmers making low pennies on the dollar for a cup of premium coffee. So I do think especially young people are going to see that as a positive change. They're going to expect it. There's also commentary here. Superfoods continue to perform well across the store, with dollar sales growth up 22% to $36 billion for the year ending September 22nd of 2022, according to Nielsen IQ. Sales of foods and drinks made with ancient grains were up 29%, and sales of those containing sprouted ingredients were up 36%. In the light of the low-carb and keto diet craze, if you will, that's very interesting to me that we have these sort of carby, grainy things going on. I mean, not necessarily that these are both exactly in that category, but it's not all protein foods or particular fatty foods like avocado type of products. Number 4 on this list, everyday self-care, has some interesting tidbits here. Sugar intake remains a concern for many. Health Focus reports over the last year, half of global consumers say that paying attention to sugar consumption has become more important to them. 2/3 of those polled by Data Essential say nutrition is most important at breakfast. That's interesting. I wonder if that has to do with messaging about breakfast being the most important meal of the day, even though some of the intermittent fasting discussions that go on have kind of questioned that. Along with this health and functional food theme I'm seeing here, 3/4 of U.S. adults take dietary supplements. Usage is back to pre-pandemic levels, according to the Council for Responsible Nutrition. If we move into category 5 here in this article, it talks about gourmet convenience again. The demand for ultra-convenient products and ingredients that provide built-in culinary upgrades for at-home food prep is unprecedented. 3/4 of consumers overall and 79% of millennials are specialty food users, according to the Specialty Food Association. It appears that people just want to mix and match or get convenient ways, but still indulge, in a sense, into specialty and culinary hoity-toity kinds of things. This is sort of what I was saying about the coffee industry. But let me get to the last major category that I'm going to cover here. This is category 7 in the article about urgent care, people really wanting functional foods. But for what? Well, in the United States, energy, followed by weight loss, digestion, heart health, improved sleep, immune function, and muscle strength/endurance are most sought after. Further, it says mental health tops the list of issues Gen Z and millennials say will affect them in 2023 per YPulse. 6 in 10 of those 18 to 39 choose foods to improve their mood, Health Focus says. And I hate to keep bringing this back to coffee, but there's some fascinating stuff about coffee being dopaminergic and improving mood and that kind of thing. Oh, and just one more section. Sorry, I lied. Technical difficulty was section 8 in here. It says over half, 57% of consumers say they're open to trying technology-driven products. According to the Hartman Group, 28% are extremely concerned about bioengineered foods. 25% feel that way about cultured meat. 23% feel that way about cellular dairy. And 16% about plant-based proteins. I think I'll agree with the plant-based proteins group at least. Food and farm trends that people do trust are vertical farming, hydroponic farming. Hey, I like that a lot. It says 1/4 of Gen Z/millennials want more greenhouse-grown produce, according to FMI. That is another trend that we'll probably have to cover here on the podcast. And then regarding that crack I made about plant-based proteins, it's just because they tend to be incomplete, they're less digestible, and yet a lot of the food labels make it sound like they're just way better than animal-based proteins, which are more protein synthetic and muscle-preserving and that kind of thing, at least at a certain dose. Anyhow, it says plant-based foods are being challenged by perceptions of processing that could undermine their positive health proposition. 31% of U.S. users have stopped buying meat alternatives, and 35% have reduced their purchases, according to Data Central. So there's yet another top food trends coming at you, this time from the most recent Food Technology magazine, with, again, these themes that I'm picking out, which are remote work, right, eating from home because of it, functional foods and wanting health built in to your foods, and convenient fresh foods that you can slap together really quickly, and then technology as well and what people are thinking about that. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later. The NutritionRadio.org podcast is for informational purposes only. If you're interested in starting a diet or exercise program, check with your physician, nutritionist, or qualified exercise physiologist in order to make the progress that you need.